G'day and welcome to this short, well it's not that short, video on Dave's Welder. In the last video I did last week, it was about the 750 and I sort of thanked him for this welder he's donated to the cause. It's sort of his way of doing Patreon, I guess, although it's a pretty hefty gift, I guess. I'm pretty happy with it. Anyway, this one's just taking the old one off this really makeshift trolley made from the store. There's $0 spent in materials and setting the new one up. At the end we sort of have a couple of practice welds and they're pretty rubbish, but I'm not a welder, so hope you enjoy. I want to talk a little bit about welders, and I'm dedicating this chapter to Dave Raaymakers. Of course, he's a good friend of mine from Raaymakers Motors in Ringwood. They are Toyota specialists and basically servicing repairs of pretty much all make and models. So I'll put the number on the bottom as I did in the last chapter, but I thought, given the generosity, this deserved its own video. Now, this is a far more, I'll start from the beginning actually. This blue welder here was sitting in a classroom at school, one of the technology rooms, for several years, and was missing a few parts and wasn't being used. Now, I approached the college with the idea of purchasing it, and I was asked to go and check that nobody else needed it. We've got a big training facility there, and this welder's nowhere near big enough, this blue one, for what they use. They've got a lot of really big sort of cutting edge machines there, and so they weren't interested in it, so I managed to purchase it from the school. Now that is a 130 and it's gas or gasless. I've got gasless wire in it. Now the reason I did that and didn't use a cylinder on it, one, because I didn't want to hire a cylinder given the amount I would use it. So I went and bought gasless wire, which was rubbish, and was told that there are good gasless wires and there are terrible ones. And I'd purchased a $15 spool from the local hardware, and it was junk. So I bought a large spool of the good stuff, and it's been very good. That machine is very good for 1mm sheet stock panel repairs, basically, or rust repairs on vehicles, which is what I've pretty much used it for. It is going to be passed on to Andy Brook. I promised it to him, and he'll get a lot of good use out of it with his Fairmont GXL. He has a beautiful original one, and it needs some rust repair, so he'll get some use out of that. It's sitting on a trolley which is made from a very old-fashioned classroom stool with the wooden top taken off and wheels attached, basically. So it's very rudimentary, but it's worked well. This red machine, I want to see if I can take it off. I've taken the rubber stops off from the front, and I want to mount it on this stool, and the reason for that is because it has a lovely handle, good wheels, and you can cut it around where you need it, but there's nowhere to put the cylinder on, of course. On the back of this one here we can modify it. It's not going to be pretty, but it will be functional. So I think the first thing we'll do is we'll take that blue one off and see what we've got. This machine was tech screwed down. I've undone those tech screws. I'm going to pull that off. It's reasonably heavy, and here's our stool. Very rudimentary kit. Now, let me just grab my stool that I'm going to sit on while I talk. As you see, this was originally like that, with a wooden top, and a wonderful guy who retired when I started the college about 16 years ago had used to do RACV Breakthrough Challenge 24-hour sort of hybrid vehicles that were powered by car batteries and a small amount of fuel, and the kids would run around a track up in Country Vic. Now, this looks untidy, but it's actually been really useful. The problem with it is, it's got some very ordinary tyres that are going to fall off. Now, this welder of Dave's is considerably heavier than this thing, and you can see that tyre's got a flat spot where the welder's being parked, and it's not going to take long before that just disintegrates. So the idea behind this is to remove the wheels from Dave's welder and stick them on here. Might have to drill the holes a bit bigger, but I did replace those casters a little while ago when I got this, because the ones that were on it were no longer functional. So I think I'll pop these wheels up and see what we've got. Hopefully the bolts that we've got for the other one are going to be alright. Alright, take the other side off. There we go. thankfully we could remove that whole axle to give us some wheels. Now what would be more sensible, I'm just going to use this, whoa, come back. Just going to use this as a drill gauge. Great, I was trying to avoid that. That's a nice fit there. Look, it'd be better if we welded washers around there to reinforce it, but we're not going to do that because everything we're doing is fairly dodgy. And do the other side. Right, so what we're doing is we're using the original wheels. We're using these bolts are galvanised. Put a bit of slip on there. Don't need too much. And the original washers that came with those. No, this is why I'm not terribly clever. See, I've just wiped half that grease off, so I'll put a bit more on. Probably because I'm tired. I get like that every now and then. Pop that through there. Another washer, one of the original ones that went around the axle. Put him in, and what we're going to do, assuming that's going to fit, is just lock off a couple of nuts. I'm just going to lock that against there. Cool, we'll do the same to this side. Right, well straight away, that is a lot better than these. But you can probably poke these out. They're pretty well gone though. So anyway, that's cool. So we can flick him over. And it is head and shoulders better than it was. Put it around this way. Oh, it's heavy. This thing's heavy. I'll just pop him down. There's a couple of tabs to sort of stop it leaning too much, or at least stop it going out too much. So there's a few things we can look at. That looks to be sitting pretty well there. Let's take another look. So I made a few hoops, or two hoops. I don't know if you can see down the back here. Can you see down there where my foot is? Yes, you can. I reckon the best thing to do would be, what's my bike, to weld that in there like that. It gives room around the fan for cooling, even though I think the round cylinder wouldn't affect that too much. I'll just put a couple of struts there and there. I might pop that plastic cover off so I can weld it on both sides and then come in like that. Maybe somewhere else too, maybe here and down there, or whatever. But I think what we need to do is take some paint off there. I've also got this one here and some stands that I made that'll sort of sit it on the bottom, so the bottom can't move, the intermediate can't move, and I'll have a chain going to that eye there, and I reckon that'll work well. Right, so looking down here, we've got a good place to mount it. This has got like a fence around it to stop the thing getting out, but there's nothing to stop it lifting, so I figured if we use tabs there, weld them to the case, and of course we've got these, they're all scrap stuff, these little spaces, and that will sit against the body of the welder, and we can weld those tabs on. I'm just going to clean this bit off here so I can weld to it and bolt this up, and then I can tack it in place. I probably should have got bigger than 5/16. It doesn't really matter though. I'm just going to pop that through there, pop that through there, and that'll show us where I need to tack it on. I'll just lock two nuts against each other so that can swivel, and then that can strap the cylinder in, just like that, in case anything goes really wrong. apparently this was leaking. In there, way over there. There's an O-ring there, I'm not sure. I'll just put a bit of Teflon around the thing. I doubt it'll do anything, but you never know. No, can't hear anything. Now, hang on, how was it? Oh, hang on. Weather here's crazy, it's still winter. We had hail and all sorts of things. But look, it's turned into a gorgeous day. And that was like half an hour ago. That's a proper fuel line rated Jubilee clip because the serrations on the outside don't extend into the hose. They sort of act as a cheese grater, these things. Now that's the wrong size, but for the moment beggars can't be choosers and I need to learn how to use this thing. Oh, it pisses out. Tits on a bull, that's useless. Well, I found one with a bigger barb. Just see if it fits. Bloody hell. And it looks like the same fitting. Oh, it's got like a tapey bit that goes in there and seals against there, which is cool. That clamp again. Good, we're in business. Right, well, let's drag this bastard out and see if I can figure out how to use it. I'm used to the old one, and I know it so well. Just gonna stick that down. It's just a matter of getting to use a whole new machine and getting to learn how to, getting used to a whole new machine, you know what I mean? So, the settings look all different. It's a cracking looking unit, so yeah, let's get it outside. Right, well, I guess the first thing to do, quiet, is check out the wire speed. I noticed on the spool down here, this had come off. That's the drag. So I want to set this up. We can adjust the wire speed here. That's far too much. So I'm just going to put it down. Just going to try it there, sort of halfway. We've got the gas on. So I think maybe pop that cover on. I just don't want it dragging too much, but that seems to be working alright. That spool was all loose and sort of unwound because of that there. So I don't know the settings on this at all. It's just purely trial and error. That's just sitting on top, so it's nowhere near powerful enough. Ramp it up a bit. Still a bit poppy, we'll ramp it up a bit more. What are we doing? One more. That's a bit better. What about if we go up a bit higher? That's where the money is, I reckon. I want to go up higher. Just see what happens. It seems a bit too. I reckon back one. That seems to be the best place. Well, you can hear the weather's closed in again. That's it for this one. You can see I'm not much of a welder. I've got lots of practice to get done. before we finish the 350 frame. Almost done now. Everything's tacked in, ready to go. Some of the welds I've done are rubbish. I want to grind them back and sort of redo them. But the original deal with this welder thing, actually Dave added the welder later. The original deal was he'd do the style that I did his bike. And the bike isn't finished yet. The XL was never finished, which is why I never did a final part to it. It's still got a noise in the engine. The carby's still pissing out with fuel. Got to fix that. And then he gets a good riding bike. That was the idea. I said to him at the start, we're aiming for a new bike. We got half there, or we got most of the way there. There's still that noise, which is really irritating. So he's got the engine out. He pulled out a week ago, waiting for me to come and collect it. And I've just got to go and pick it up. And I'll pull the top end off and I'll have another look. I think we're going to have to split cases and put another crank conrod kit in it. I think it's out, but or bent. So that's it for this one. Got my phone here. Got a text Andy Brook from the Ford Forum. He's I've given my SIG welder, my blue one, to him. Perfect for panel repairs on the XC, and of course Andy was instrumental in providing loads of parts for the XC as well. And so I always felt a bit indebted to him. So I'm going to text him now. In fact, I'll do it on the thing. And he can come and pick that up, or I'll go to him. We'll do a little tutorial or something. And basically, that's it. So thanks very much for watching. Enjoy your classic, and I'll see you around. I'm just going to finish this.